What's up, everybody? I think Blizzard might have made one of the darkest characters ever. All right, y'all need to stay with me for a minute because this might sound a little crazy, but I'm pretty sure Shion's a sex bot. And now, before you click off this video, before you call me a gooner and tell me to touch grass in the comments, hear me out. Because number one, I don't think I'm the only one that thinks this. Because this is one of those theories where people, I look at a character and say, oh, she's a woman, so she has to be sexy, right? Or sex, right? No, that's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that the more I dug into Shion's lore, the more I started realizing that Blizzard might be telling a much darker story than people realize. And if I'm right, Shion might actually be one of the most tragic characters they've ever written. But let me explain why. But in order to do that, I got to take you on a quick detour. Okay. So one of my favorite movies growing up was Transformer the movie, the animated one, not the stupid ones from the 2000s. Now, if you're old enough to know what I'm talking about, you already know where this is going because cartoons back then were really funny. Like people shot lasers all the time, laser blasters all the time. Nobody got hit. Transformers, G.I. Joe, Thundercats, everybody had infinite ammo and negative accuracy. Like my aim in Overwatch. But then the Transformers movie came out and Megatron boarded the Autobot ship and he just straight up smoked everybody. He aired that bitch out. Ironhide got folded up, Prowl packed it up, Optimus Prime died later on, but Optimus Prime died in battle. Everybody on that ship got straight up murdered. And the little kid in me learned a very important lesson. Just because something says that it's made for kids doesn't mean that it can't find a way to tell darker stories. And I think that's what Overwatch is kind of starting to do right now. Because if you think about it, Overwatch has always had a weird relationship with violence. People are constantly shooting at each other, but nobody's really getting hit. Everyone survives. And the only thing that's constantly getting shot at and destroyed are Omnics. And that's like really funny because one of the central themes in the entire franchise is that like Omnics are people too. Like Omnic lives matter. But Blizzard has always had to dance around it because, Overwatch is PG rated, so we can't shoot people, so I guess shoot the robots. They wanted the action, they wanted all the drama, they just couldn't really find a way to, have anybody get domed straight up on TV. So lately, I think with this whole new storyline thing they're doing right now, they're trying to push that line and they're trying to push it hard, trying to see how close they can get to it without actually stepping over. Because look at Vendetta, right? If you look at all the recent cinematics, people's bodies are laying around. Like Emre just has a bunch of people just laying around dead that he very much obviously killed. They talk about that he just murdered all these people. And when have we ever had murder just be in an Overwatch story before, right? Doomfist got his arm chopped off, and yeah, his arm is mechanical, but that's still a very jarring visual. And it also happened in the first couple of days of Black History Month, but we ain't gonna really talk about that. And then he got thrown out of a skyscraper with Doomfist might be dead, we don't even know, right? And that's something that's even pushing the limits. You get all kinds of stuff that would never have happened in earlier Overwatch. It's just violence with enough plausible deniability to keep that rating. And that's where I think Shion's story comes in, because I think they primed everything for this kind of direction that they're going. I think she's another example of Blizzard exploring darker themes without actually saying it out loud. So let's just start with the obvious. Shion looks different, very different. Not just different from humans, but she is unlike any other Omnic we've ever seen. Because female Omnics exist in the story already. We've seen the monks, we've seen civilians, we've seen the Omnics in King Row, we've seen the Omnics in the Freaks, we've seen female Omnics all over the place, and none of them look like Shion. Shion has curves, she has hips, she has breasts, she has cleavage, she has a human face, very feminine presentation, and a very deliberate design. And let's just talk about the elephant in the room real quick, because Shion is Japanese, and she has the little waifu face, she has the pale white geisha skin, and let's be honest, Japan has sex robots right now, and if you know, you know. So what do you think they're gonna have in the distant future? And then I kind of started noticing some other weird stuff. Shion has a mouth but doesn't move, but she talks out of her neck. But if you look at the comic books, her mouth is moving. So she can move her mouth, even though she and all other Omnics talk out of speakers. But she has a mouth. Why? She doesn't eat. She doesn't breathe. She doesn't even talk through it. She talks through her neck. Because remember how Omnics work. Before Aurora's awakening, Omnics weren't people. They were just machines. They had jobs, functions, purposes. They existed to serve humanities Aurora sacrificed herself, Robot Jesus, and the awakening happened. Omnics gained their free will, but they kept their memories from when they were just machines. And that's really important because Ramatra constantly reminds people that Omnics are single generation species. After the Omnic crisis, no new Omnics are being made.
Our race is only a single generation. We are a single generation race, dying.
That means that every Omnic alive today was originally built for something. So the question comes in, what was Shion built for? And then things get a little weirder because Blizzard isn't really subtle about Shion's relationship with desire and sexuality. This woman is straight up down, DTF, catastrophically. And she's like that with everybody. And I mean everyone. She flirts with men. She flirts with women. She flirts with Omnics. She flirts with Genji. She talks about how pretty Sojourn's face is.
The first time I saw you, I thought you were handsome.
And then, you learned I was a Shimada?
I learned you were human. And I'm much pickier when it comes to flesh. You have such a pristine face.
Why you flatter me? But I assure you, I've made no alterations.
I admire your silhouette, Singania.
I'm not royalty.
Really? Even I'd consider bending the knee for you.
She said that she'd consider bending the knee for Domina. She said she loves her silhouette, which, I mean, first of all, same. But secondly, Blizzard's official character profile literally says she indulges in excesses through fashions, lovers, and motorcycles. Lovers, not lover, lovers. This woman has hobbies. So whether you want to call her bisexual, pansexual, polyamorous, or just aggressively outside the box, it's all the same. Shion is one of the most openly flirtatious characters that Blizzard's ever created. And yes, I'm even including Bap. And that's where things kind of start connecting a little bit, because if she was originally designed to fulfill human desires, if companionship or intimacy was some part of her original function, then it starts to make a lot of sense because she's still programmed that way. Because people don't escape their past. Okay, people rarely escape their past. And neither do Omnics, right? So if you start looking at her actual story, that's where things start going from suspicious to kind of concerning. So her story's not this regular story, right? It's a story about a person who was used, controlled, manipulated, and abused, right? In her own biography, she talks about being captive. She talks about how others had power over her. She talks about being shackled. She talks about, having to take that power back and being imprisoned and left alone for days, used, manipulated.
How would you rate our prison cells? I'm looking to make them worse.
I am shocked you keep them at all, given the rumors about your past.
They're all true, but I hold the keys now.
Your attempts to find power within human structures are misguided.
You think you're better than them? You'd chuck on me, all the same.
Scars, that's some trauma talking. And honestly, I think the biggest piece of evidence in her relationship with Mizuki, because Shion doesn't know how to have healthy relationships. That's why she's so crazy and so murderous, because again, I think that when the awakening happened, she got sentenced. She just murdered everybody that was around her, and she really, really hates humans. She despises them, and but just like a lot of broken people or hurt people, she found a way to become attached to one. Maybe the only good human was one that she can control, one that she can manipulate. And that's where her obsession with Mizuki comes in, because she is possessive of the one human that she likes, the one human that she is obsessed with, and in a non-sexual way. Humans and other people are there for gratification, but Mizuki's different.
Is something wrong, Obake-kun? You look nervous.
Why do you care?
I will always care about you. Have I not made that clear?
You have.
Whatever they've told you about me, Mizuki, it isn't true.
No one said anything. I'm just seeing you for what you are.
What I am? You mean a bot? An empty killing machine?
That's I didn't mean...
She groomed him. She took him under her wing. She trained him. She shaped him. You know, she turned him into a weapon. And when she talks to him, it's not a language of partnership. It's a language of ownership. Like, you're mine. You belong to me. So it's almost like when a child loses their like teddy bear or their favorite blanket. Like, no, it's mine. It's mine. It's mine. And yeah, it's not romantic before you get weird. You can groom someone non-romantically. It's still effed up, right? It's tragic because like hurt people, and Shion was controlled, and now she's the one that's doing the controlling. She was used, and now she's the person that's using people. Like, the only model for intimacy she's ever really had access to was through possession, and that's what makes her such an interesting character. Now, am I saying that Blizzard's going to come out tomorrow and say that, hey, Shion used to be a sex bot? No, absolutely not. That's never going to happen. But I do think that Blizzard is intentionally leaving these breadcrumbs for people to pick up on, and I do think they're going to get a little bit more obvious as we move on. They're telling a story that adults can pick up on while younger players see like, oh, cool, cyborg ninja with pistols and like, you know, a motorcycle. And honestly, I think that's good writing. I think that's a good storytelling where those, you know, the people who are hip to it kind of like learn the lore and read in between the lines. Because the bigger story isn't whether the theories, right? The bigger story is like, is Overwatch is seeming to be more willing to explore adult themes, and not just adult as in fan service. Like, yeah, I'm sure they're going to sell some Shion skins, but I'm talking about adult like trauma, identity, control, abuse, power, like those type of adult themes. And I think those things make characters feel real. And it's hard to do those things in a purely PG setting. And if that's where the lore is going, then I'm here for it. Because for all the problems that Overwatch has, the characters are still the best thing that Blizzard's ever created. It's the reason why we play the game, even if we don't really know it. The rich storyline and the diversity of the characters is what makes the game so fun. And Shion might be one of the most interesting characters they've made so far. I don't know, but that's just me. Let me know what you think. Am I completely off base, or did Blizzard create like some like dark lore type stuff, you know? So anyway, that's all I gotta say. Let me know what you think. Peace.